Welcome to our Meet the Students webinar for our CAO Information Evening this year. We're so excited to chat to everyone today and for you to all get a lovely opportunity to meet some of our current students. Just before I guess we kick it off, if anyone has any questions in the Q&A box there, if you put them into the Q&A box, what we might do is we might have a general chat with Hira, Daniel and Claudia. And then we'll get to all the Q&As and we'll try and answer as many questions as possible. I'll also keep an eye on the Q&A during it, and if anything kind of comes up that we could bring into our conversation, I'll do that. I can see that somebody's raised their hand, so just because it's a webinar, we just ask if everyone could put their questions into the Q&A and we'll try and get back to you there. So, to kick it off, I guess I'm going to introduce our lovely students. So, firstly, I'm Deirdre Carroll, and I'm from the admissions office here at Maynooth University, and I'm going to MC our Meet the Students webinar today. So, I'm going to kick it off with this is Claudia. Firstly, I'm going to go who's on my screen. Claudia, then we have Daniel, and then we have Hira. So, kind of in that order, I might let you just introduce yourself and who you are and what you're studying and what year you're in.
So hello everyone, my name is Claudia and I'm a fourth year biology and chemistry student here at Maynooth University through MH201 General Science.
Hi everyone, I'm Daniel. I'm a second year student studying MH402 Quantitative Finance. Yeah.
Lovely. And Hira?
Hi guys, my name is Hira Khan and I am a third year LLB student at Maynooth, and currently I'm on placement in a law firm here in Dublin.
Fab, thank you so much, guys. So I think just seeing as the CEO, a lot of our students kind of joining us today are probably filling in their CEO at the moment. They're on the really daunting kind of point of their Leaving Cert or their QQI or their mature application. And I guess my first question to everyone is why did you choose Maynooth University? So Hira, I might start off with you on that one if you don't mind.
Yeah, not at all. So when I was in my Leaving Cert, I kind of knew that I wanted to do law, but I just didn't really know where I wanted to do it. So I filled out my CAO application, and I had just kind of the first time that I did it, I just put down colleges and wherever law was, taught, I just put it down. And actually, coming up to the end of my Leaving Cert, I didn't really think about it. I thought, I'll do my Leaving Cert and then I'll have a bit of a summer and then, fill in my CAO and really hammer down where I want to go. And around that time, I got a postcard in the post from Maynooth about their summer open day. And coincidentally, I think it was on a Saturday. So I was like, okay, I'll go to that and just see how it is. And as cliche as it sounds, I kind of just knew as soon as I came to Maynooth that this is where I wanted to be. The vibes are really nice at Maynooth. And as well as that, when I kind of was going around and having a chat to students, I ran across a lot of law students. And at the stall itself, I got to meet a few of the lecturers, and everyone was really just like forthcoming with information. And as well as that, I kind of got to see how the structure of law was being taught at Maynooth. And I really, really liked the fact that we were not only studying theory-based law modules like contract law and criminal law, but you were also studying practical-based modules where you could put contract law into practice and negotiate a contract. So I really, really liked not just the vibes, but also how it was taught. And yeah, there was no other place after that. Maynooth
Oh,
had my
that's so
heart.
lovely. So
Yeah,
lovely. It's like you knew just as soon as you went to the open day. And that's why
yeah,
actually on that
exactly.
topic, it's so important to go to the campus and see what it's like and see if it suits you and if it's a place because you're going to spend your degree there and you're going to spend a lot of years, kind of formative years there. So it is so important to go and to see the place for yourself. Daniel, why did you choose Maynooth?
So when I was in sixth year, I wasn't exactly 100% certain what I wanted to do. I knew I really liked maths. I knew I possibly wanted to work with something related to computer science, and I also had a good bit of an interest in finance. So then I kind of ended up finding the course quantitative finance here that combined all three, and I thought it would let me have a good rounded education in each area and kind of then figure out what to specialize in. And then, as Hera mentioned, I also went to the open day when I was at the end of fifth year, and I ended up just really enjoying the open day. I got a really positive kind of vibe off everything, and all the students I met there were really nice. And then my older sister would have had a good few friends in Maynooth as well, and she just said the atmosphere there is really great.
Oh, that's lovely as well. Again, the importance of going to the campus and seeing it there for yourself. Claudia, what about you? What did you choose, Maynooth?
So when I was in sixth year, I always knew I wanted to do a science related course in college. But as you all know, there's so many different sciences, like so many different ones across the country and even abroad. And none of them like Maynooth. So like they none of them incorporated biology and chemistry like Maynooth do. And I only learned that when like the rest of the people here, like they went to the open day. So I went to the open day and I ran across some of the students and I was kind of talking to them and I was like, I love biology, I love chemistry. I was like, what will I do? Like, will I do biomed? Will I do pharmachem? And they were like, general science. I was like, oh. So I was like, they were kind of asking. I was kind of asking them like, oh, how does that work? Like, do I just do one subject and then graduate with one subject? And they were like, no, no, no. You can graduate in a double major in biology and chemistry once you finish your degree. So I thought that was great, and that was one of the main things that I really loved about Maynooth. I also really like the fact that Maynooth is not huge, but it's not really small either. Like you can find basically anything you need within Maynooth, like within the town. So I really like that, even just like safety wise and stuff like that. I really, really enjoyed that. So that's one of the biggest reasons why I chose Maynooth, just because I could do both of the subjects I really loved in the same course in Maynooth.
Yeah, and I think they're pretty good reasons as well. And I guess, like, on that kind of topic that you kind of speak about your course, I actually want to know, like, a little bit more about your courses because I know there's probably people who are with us now at the moment and they're interested in law or in quantitative finance or in science, biology, and chemistry. So maybe just tell us a little bit about your course. So I guess, Claudia, we'll kick off with you if that's okay.
So, the beauty about general science here in Maynooth is that when you come into first year, you can sample a few different subjects before deciding which ones are the ones you want to stick with. So, for example, in first year, I did biology, chemistry, experimental physics, and maths. Maths is a compulsory subject, so everyone has to do it. The main reason is because you kind of do need maths for all biology, chemistry, physics, computer science, and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, so you get to pick three main like core subjects, and then as you progress through the years, you can drop them or and graduate with a single major, or you can do like I did and graduate with a double major in two of the subjects you really like. And in general, biology and chemistry are very lab based subjects. So you do 2 hours a week in lectures and then about 4 hours in the lab every week for each of your subjects.
And tell me, Claudia, which science subjects did you study for your Leaving Cert?
So for my leaving cert, I did biology and chemistry.
Okay, and did you find it much different then when you came to Maynooth, or like was it a big jump? Maybe just describe the kind of differences as well.
So the beauty about Maynooth as well is that whenever you come in, like they do teach everything from a really like simple and basic level. So for people that have never done biology, chemistry, physics, or anything like that in school, it is great. So for example, I never did physics in school, and when I came to Maynooth and I did physics in first year, everything was taught from the very beginning. And I know some people were kind of like, oh my god, I already know this. Like, come on. But for people like me that had never done it, it's great because you get to catch up to their level.
Yeah, definitely amazing. And then I guess thanks so much, Claudia. And then I guess here, so law is an interesting one because law is something that you don't necessarily study in secondary school. I mean, maybe some schools do kind of modules in transition years, so I guess it was something completely different. And just to see from our participants, if you want to raise your hand, just to gauge an interest of how many people are interested in studying law at Maynooth. Wow, yeah, so we have a lot of hands being raised. Wow. Yeah, we've about 13 people raising their hands, so we have a lot of law, future law students here in Maynooth. And here, do you want to tell us a little bit then for our participants today, what is it that is involved in law? Just tell us a little bit about your course.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm in LLB, which is a 4-year course, and it's actually really, really nice because when you start off in first year, all of your modules are compulsory. So you would do 5 in semester 1 and 6 in semester 2. And at the beginning, you're kind of like, oh, but like I want to form my own timetable or I want to do the modules that I like. But rest assured, they are picked out that way for a reason. As you progress into second year and third year, the amount of optional modules you can take increase. So for first year, our modules were all compulsory, but they were all modules that you kind of needed because, as you kind of said, law is a tricky one because you don't really have much of an introduction into law before going into law. So the modules that you do are kind of like legal skills and advocacy, negotiation. You can do mock trials, and that kind of not only teaches you how to practice the law, but it also builds up your self-esteem, your confidence in speaking, because public speaking and speaking in general and communication, these are all big aspects of law. You must not only be able to read the law and, absorb information, but you have to be able to communicate that information to whoever you're speaking to. And that's great coming up to exams because once you've said and communicated this information so many times, you're ready for your exams. And I suppose one of the best things, or what I thought was one of the best things about law, was that when you go into it, your contact hours are between 10 and 12 hours per week. So that could mean that you're doing 2 lectures per day. And that's a really nice start into law because it's easy to get overwhelmed when you are kind of coming into university and you're studying a subject that you kind of have never studied before, and your lecturers are aware of that. So the module hours increase again as you progress through university, but the start is really, really nice.
Yeah, I think that's a great kind of overview into your course here. And I
Yeah,
think it's really interesting because so you're doing the LLB, but
yeah,
then there's also the BCL, and
yeah,
then also there's the arts program, and that's a great transfer route. I'm sure a lot of your classmates came from the
yeah,
transfer route from arts, did
absolutely.
they?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of talk on this evening again for the CAO information evening. And Fergus Ryan will be in that one. And I think that would be really, really, really important for anyone here that's interested in studying law. I would definitely attend that talk. I don't know. As Hira said, she went to a few talks in the open day and that helped her.
Yeah. No,
um,
absolutely. Fergus does great talks, and it's a really great in-depth overview of what your, 4 years or 3 years at Maynooth would look like.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Hira. And then Daniel, would you lastly like to give us an overview of your course?
No bother. So my course essentially consists of in equal parts computer science, finance, and maths. So in first year you take two maths modules, or no, you take three maths modules, a calculus module, a linear algebra module, and a statistics module, two computer science modules, which are taught from kind of a beginner level, which I found very great, and also a microeconomics module and macroeconomics module. And then you can choose two modules yourself from an art subject. So I personally chose data science because it was just something I was interested in. But I know you can also choose an extra computer science module, which gives you an option to transfer directly into computer science in second year if you chose that, or an accounting module, which gives you an option to transfer directly into finance if you chose that. And then in second year, it's mostly compulsory modules with the option to choose one. And it's kind of second year is more so just building on what you've kind of done in first year. Yeah.
Amazing. That's a really good like overview and into it. And did you find, I guess a lot of your modules were probably something you hadn't really studied in secondary school, were they, Daniel? Were they a lot of it new
Yeah,
to you?
so I had from beginner level, I took up economics, which I found was easy enough.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then as well, computer science I hadn't done at all. But the way it's taught here in Malaysia was just kind of you're expected to have not done it, so it was easy enough to pick up.
Okay, amazing. That's good to know as well for anyone who's kind of considering it and kind of toying with the idea of maybe studying computer science. It's good to know that you've been there, you've done that, and
Yeah.
you enjoyed it.
Mhm.
I guess thanks so much, Daniel. My next one a bit is I just want to know what your like favorite thing about your course is. So Daniel, we'll go back to you. What's your favorite thing about your course?
My favorite thing about my course is being able to study all three disciplines. I just really like the variety I'm given and the fact that they're quite different, but I also feel like certain stuff I've learned from statistics will be very applicable in finance. Anything I've learned from maths will be applicable in finance. A lot
Hmm.
of the stuff I've learned in maths also transfers over to computer science then. They just
Hmm.
they're quite different, but I feel like they all bounce off each other very well.
That's cool. That's a really cool kind
Mm.
of point. And I actually find that a lot of kind of our course and degrees here at Maynooth University are quite like that, that you can kind of I guess, dip your toes in different things as well, as in like even for the arts degree, you can decide on a few different subjects. Claudia, for example, in your science degree, you can kind of pick and choose a few different which ones you like as well. So that's kind of the beauty of the flexibility, I guess. Here, what's your favorite thing about your course?
My favorite thing about my course is the public speaking aspect of it. Like I was saying earlier about like legal advocacy and such. Before I came to Maynooth, or before I kind of studied law, I was incredibly shy. I did not like speaking to a crowd of people. I just couldn't do it. And like I would just, my whole body would start shaking and my heart would start beating really fast. But since then, I've actually overcome all of those. And that was through, I think, just being at Maynooth and kind of talking to my lecturers. A tip one of my lecturers gave me in first year, after she kind of threw random topics at us and was like, okay, let's debate these. You don't have to have any knowledge about any of these topics, but just, stand in front of everyone and argue them. And because everyone was kind of in the same boat, we all probably weren't that great at arguing it, but the purpose of that was to kind of just get it out. And after that, we were given a few tips. And one of them that has stuck with me was holding on to the edge of my table just to ground myself. And even now, sometimes when I find myself getting nervous or, forgetting what I'm kind of talking about, I just hold on to the edge of my desk. And that's the favorite part about my course, is the public speaking aspect and just getting you prepared for life after college, and gaining skills that are essential in not just law but in any career path.
Amazing. I love that as well. I love that. I love the fact that you're saying that you were shy beforehand and now you're
Yeah.
like, hey everyone, this is what I love about my course. I love public speaking.
Exactly.
You just like overcame a fear completely.
Yeah.
And Claudia, what is your favorite part about your course?
So my favorite part about MH201 Journal Science is that I am an extremely hands-on and visual person. So I suppose this course is perfect for me. So as I said before, we do have 2 hours of lectures for each module in first year, but then we also have a lab. And for me, it was very important because although I do understand the concepts we do study in the in the lectures, I do enjoy going into the lab and then seeing everything kind of come to life. So for me, it's much easier to understand, is there like experiment or a reaction if I'm seeing it happen in front of me. So that's one of the things I really enjoy about Maynooth, like the great facilities we have. They're just amazing. Like, and it is great being able to learn from professors that are like specialized in that area. So we do have, like, let's say an immunology course, and then like for certain parts of immunology, we do have certain professors that are specialized in that certain like part of immunology. So yeah, no, that is really great about Maynooth, and I really enjoy that as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Claudia. I can see actually just in the meantime, I can see that a few questions have come in and we are getting to them. My colleague Emma Shine is in the background answering questions. So thank you very much, Emma. We really appreciate that. And we're going to just chat a little bit more, but we will get to some more questions. So if there's anything in particular that you want to ask our students here, feel free to please put them into the Q&A box, and even if you want to put the student's name first and then the question, then we know who to direct the question to, and what the kind of question is. My next question then for our students here is, I kind of want to go towards I guess the other aspect of student life, which is accommodation. If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to speak about if you have commuted or if you've lived on campus or if you've privately rented. What has been your situation? So I guess here we'll start with you again, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. My family is based down in Waterford. So when I was in first year, I actually was in accommodation 5 days a week, but I was off campus. And I thought that that was nice. I was kind of living with a family friend, which is why I was off campus. But it was kind of really, really nice to get that sense of not just, being within the university, but also getting some experience of the town as well. And I think about 8 months into first year, I want to say, we went completely online. And throughout that period, from the end of first year to second year, I was living at home and I commuted once a week. and I just went through the train. I used to take a train and a bus. It was like a 2 hour commute, 2.5 hours. But that was nice because you can still use your commuting time to kind of go through lectures or just get what you need to get done. So yeah, I kind of did both, living near campus and then also doing the commuting thing.
I love that actually that point that you're kind of making, like use the time as best as possible. That you're like, I'm getting a bit of my study done, or I'm doing a reading here, or
Absolutely.
you
Yeah,
know.
there's that's definitely a benefit. But that being said, like I understand some days when I'd be so tired, I used to just sleep on the train
Yeah, it's like I'm
as
just
well. So
switching
you can,
off.
yeah, you can get a nap in as well.
Yeah, and then again, that's time management too, getting a
Yeah.
nap in.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks so much, Hira. Claudia, what about you?
So I was very lucky that out of the 4 years I've been in Maynooth, I've been able to get on-campus accommodation for three of them. So in first year, I thought it was really nice because you didn't only become friends with your roommates, but you also became friends with your friends' roommates. So you all kind of like you get to meet so many people, and even to this day, I'm really good friends with a lot of my roommates and my roommates' friends that I made in first year. So it is great if you have the chance. I would definitely apply to on-campus accommodation. You're also like literally 5 minutes from your lectures. I used to leave my house at 5 to, and because lectures in Maynooth start at 5 past, like I could literally just be there in 10 minutes. It was great. Or even if you wanted to run back home and get a snack or do work in your room or anything like that, it was great. And then in second year, I wasn't able to get in student accommodation because it's very competitive. Like literally everyone tries to apply for it. So what I did is I lived in a digs, so in a privately owned house, so Monday to Friday.
Lovely. Thanks so much, Claudia. That's so interesting. And just that there are the different options as well. I know on our last open day, virtual open day in November, we had a talk from all the different departments in the university, covering private rental accommodation, on campus accommodation, and then kind of stay here and there kind of stays, like 1 night, 2 night kind of stay. And you can find that on our CAO hub, the recording of that on mu.ie/CAO. So then finally, Daniel, what about you? Tell us a little bit about your living situation.
So my living situation would have actually been very similar to Claudia's. In first year, I was living on campus, and then for the first half of this year in second year, I've been living in digs, but I made the decision to move back onto campus. So that's the only thing. Even if you don't get the on-campus accommodation right away, there is a chance to get it after during the year.
Amazing. Yeah, yeah, that's helpful.
Mm.
That's really helpful. Thanks so much, Daniel. Is anyone here involved in a club or society? No, we're not. Well,
Yeah, I
yeah, what are you involved in, Daniel?
so I'm the treasurer for the Minute Film Sock.
Oh, cool. That's cool,
So
society.
generally what we do is we would have just show a film every Wednesday. We get a lecture hall, and the it's also done based on voting. So we'd have two suggestions up on our Instagram, and then any members of the society can vote, and whichever one ends up winning out.
That's cool.
Uh,
Have you met loads of people from it?
yeah, I've met a good loads of people from it, loads of like-minded people, which has been great. Just to chat about films and stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. That's actually a really interesting kind of point when you get to university. You can meet a lot of like-minded people, isn't it? As in things that you're interested in. Like, say, for example, you're really into the Irish language and you really want to get involved. There's a Chula Colm there, that you can speak Irish with other people, and yeah, I guess like-minded kind of individuals in that kind of a way, which I think was a really interesting kind of point there. Here, are you involved in any societies?
I am, yeah. I'm on 5 committees.
Oh, wow. I
Yeah,
asked that question lightly.
I started off pretty slow in first year. I only joined one society, and that was Islamic Society, and I was the first year rep on that. And then through that, I kind of made some friends and I got to know people. And then I had the confidence to kind of go and put myself forward for other societies. So I am on the Law Society, ELSA, and FLAC. These are the three law-based societies that we have at Maynooth. And each of them kind of serves a different function, but still kind of is based around law. I'm also president of Islamic Society, and then I'm on the Society's Management Committee, which we kind of oversee the societies and raise any issues or problems they may have. We raise it with the clubs and societies office themselves.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Claudia. You're involved with something else, aren't you, for clubs and societies?
So in first year, I did join. So first and second year, I did join the Women in STEM Society.
Mm-hmm.
But then for the third year, I didn't because COVID hit, so I couldn't
No, yeah.
do anything really. And then this year, I became the person in charge of running the Clubs and Society Instagram. So that's my part-time job here at Maynooth University. So we interview a club and a society each week, and we kind of put up information on the Instagram. So incoming first years or even like current students at Maynooth can get a feel of what the different societies and clubs involve, and we do giveaways and stuff like that. So it's really great and it's fun, and I've met so many people through it as well.
That's really cool. I love that part as well. My next part is I want to ask what everyone's favorite part of either campus or student support. So, what makes uni or Maynooth unique to you? What's your kind of favorite element, and what kind of stands out, I guess, for the from the institute for you? Kira, I'll ask you first.
Mine is kind of support based, and this is being able to borrow a laptop from the university. Because in first year, my keyboard spontaneously stopped working on my laptop, and I had an assignment due the very next day. So there was a moment of just like sheer panic, and I was like, what do I do? And then I remembered that you can actually go to the library and loan a laptop for 3 hours, but you can loan a laptop like consecutively. So once you give it back after the 3 hours, you can take out another one, which
Mhm.
was really nice. And got that assignment hammered and
Woohoo!
submitted and everything. So the laptops are a real lifesaver.
That was a nice ending to the start of a horrible story
Yeah.
and entire situation.
Yeah.
Daniel, what about you?
I'm not sure. I'd say my favorite thing about the campus is just how vibrant it's been this year. After coming back from last year when COVID was really bad and just seeing this year with everything back, it's been nice to see how vibrant everything is, especially like the tent outside the John Hume and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's cool. You're right. And I think something that's really cool about Maynooth is the fact that you've the two campuses. So you've the South Campus, which is what we kind of say is the kind of more, well, the library's over on the South Campus, and then you've on the South Campus, and then you've the North Campus with more kind of lecture halls. I guess you guys probably have more
Yeah.
lectures on North Campus, and then South Campus, you could have a few lectures, but there's gorgeous walks in the South Campus, and that's where you'd see a lot of lovely kind of pictures and bits from Maynooth. Um, and I guess the fact that it's so close to the town, like you can just pop down for a bit of lunch, or you can pop down to kind of, I don't know, look around the shops, or if you needed to get anything. It's all very kind of compact. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, yeah,
What
I
would you
think
guys
so.
say? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry, here you're going to say something, Maria.
no, I was just agreeing. Yeah.
Claudia, what about you?
So I definitely agree with you with the whole same learning in Maynooth is just fantastic. And even just like I live on campus full time, so even just grabbing a coffee on a Saturday morning and going for a walk, it's great. But I think one of my favorite supports in Maynooth when I was in first and second year was definitely the math support center in the library. So I literally lived there whenever we had assignments or like coming up to exams. So you can go in there and talk to the staff and the maths tutors, and they will literally help you with any questions you could have. Like even if it's like a past exam question or even an assignment, like they'll help you. They won't give you an answer, but they will help you with like concepts and stuff like that. So I literally lived there first and second year.
Yeah, I've heard so much about the Math Support
Yeah.
Centre and how it's a great asset to anyone who has kind of math kind of modules or anything kind of around that it's a great kind of asset in the university as well. So thanks so much, guys. I guess actually I think it's really interesting here. You're currently on placement, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about that, how it came about, and just about the kind of placement? And actually, just on that note, if anyone is interested in placement, we do have a webinar hosted by Fionnuala Finnegan and my colleague in the admissions office as part of our MU Live series. So that's you can sign up on mu.ie/MU Live, and they're Wednesday webinars where we discuss different kind of aspects in the university, so kind of specialised So, for example, we have one on placement coming up, and then we have one on GA participation and scholarship opportunities. We've had a few in mature student applications. We kind of center in on a topic and get the specialists from that topic in the university and to kind of host the webinar with us. So also student budgeting is another great one that we've hosted as well. So on that, if anyone is interested, we'll kind of touch a bit on the placement from the student perspective. But if you'd like to ask your in-depth questions, or if you'd like to hear the full kind of placement opportunities for other degrees, I'd really recommend you join that. So that's mu.ie/mu live. So sorry, now Hira, tell me a little bit about your placement.
So the way that placements run for law is that they're run by the law department themselves. So the law department will kind of do a session on how placements are run, and you would do it in third year. They do that kind of early on in your second year so that you can kind of be thinking about whether you want to do a placement or not. And you would submit an application directly to the law department, which kind of comprises of your results, CV, and a cover letter. And this is kind of due around the end of January. So you kind of have a good like 6 months to think about whether you really, really want to do a placement. Now, the placement replaces your third year, and instead you do your third year when you come back in final year, because third year has around 6 or 7 compulsory modules that you kind of need for your FE1s or for King's Inns. So you don't have to come back and repeat a year or, you know, add on an extra year to your degree. It kind of is within your degree itself. It also means that you have to do 2 assessments within your placement, but this is kind of just to see how you're doing, and it's pass fail. So you pass once you've submitted a completed assessment, and your third year, which is now your final year, is really confusing, but your final year then becomes 90% of your degree. I don't know, did you have any kind of specific questions on the placement or?
No, I think that's really good kind of overview here. And I guess if anyone has any questions, feel free to put them into the Q&A. And again, there is that placement talk as part of MU Live coming up. Now, I'm going to have a look at some of the questions, and that's why I'm kind of going off. Now, I can see one question firstly that says, where can I find the amount of places available in each course? Okay, so where to find that is if you go onto our prospectus, okay, so you can find that on, if you put into your Google on the top, mu.ie/prospectus, you'll find a digital copy of our prospectus. And on the page of each course, it'll say on the top the points for the year previous to that. And it will also say amount of places available in the course. So that's where you can find that for each course. And if you can't find it and there's a particular course that you're interested in, if you put it onto, we have a live Q&A kind of stream going on our CAO hub there, and if you just put it in there, whatever course you're looking for and how many places, one of our team will be able to help you with that question. Now, some of these questions are a little bit specific on courses that aren't kind of represented here. And just to mention that this is kind of the student perspective. So if it's really in-depth information that you're looking for in a particular degree or course, I'd 100% recommend joining the other talks after this webinar that are more specialised, and you'll hear directly from your future lecturers and the academics at Maynooth. So, for example, that question, there's a question here on, is study abroad available for the science degree? I know Claudia is a science student, but she wouldn't have this information off the top of her head. So I might just leave that there, and I'll have a look in the perspectives, and we'll go through the kind of nitty gritty ones at the end. If we don't get to you, if you could put it into the chat in our CO, and we'll 100% be able to get back to you there. There's a question here on, could Claudia talk a bit more about the biology side of her degree? Like, what modules are there exactly? Is it an obligation to do physics and maths in first year? And is the maths hard? How many hours is it? And the same with physics. And is it hard? And how many hours? So I guess we'll kick off with the biology part of that question.
Sure.
If that's okay, Claudia.
When you come into first year, you do 3 main subjects, and then maths. So you do biology. So I did biology, chemistry, physics, and maths. And for each of these modules, you have just that like chunky module. We call it chunky module. So as in like you cover stuff that would have been covered in Leaving Cert. So because a lot of people would not have done this modules in their senior cycle in school. So it's very intro, like it's very like simple stuff, simple concepts. And for me, that I didn't do physics in school was great, but I know for me in biology and chemistry, I was kind of like, it was all revision. So that's first year. And then second year, you do get 2 modules for each subject. So you'd have 2 modules for biology, 2 modules for chemistry, and then 2 modules for your third subjects, which you would either choose to drop math or drop one of your other subjects. What I did, I dropped physics. So I did them 2 modules, and then as well I had a lab-based component to each subject. So I would have my 4 modules for biology in total. So I would have 4 lectures a week for biology, as well as my lab. I would have 4 lectures a week for chemistry, as well as my lab. And then I would have 4 modules for math. And then I would also have a tutorial every week. And then as you progress through the years, as I said before, you can either maintain those subjects to the point you graduate with a single or double major. And you asked about what modules in specific we do for biology. That's it. As in, let me just, is that it, Deirdre? What modules we do for biology?
Sorry, Claudia, my mic, I was like trying to find it there. So what modules are there exactly?
So there's biochemistry, there's animal physiology, there's immunology, there's ecology, there's bioinformatics. There's so many different modules to the biology subject itself, and you can find all of these on the course finder on the Maynooth website. So I would definitely have a look at them. And not all of them are compulsory. You can, as you progress through the years, you can actually choose which ones you like the best. So for example, for me this year, I'm doing immunology and I'm doing tumor biology. And the next semester I'm doing neuromuscular biology and medical mycology. So it really depends on what your preferences are.
Um, and is it an obligation to do physics and maths in first year? And is the maths hard?
So
And if physics either?
compulsory module in first year, because you do need it for the rest of your subjects. So like you would have maths in physics and you would have maths in chemistry. So you kind of do have to have a bit of a knowledge in maths. So that's why it's compulsory in first year. And I wouldn't say it's hard, but you do have to keep on top of your lecture material every week. And as I said, I lived in the math support center in first and second year. So you definitely have to be on top of your on your lecture material. And then as well, the tutorials are great because you get a chance to practice past exam papers as well as go over your weekly assignments.
Lovely. Thank you so much. I hope that answered that question. There's a question here for you here. Hi, I was wondering what the workload is like with law. Is it very stressful?
It's not stressful in the sense where there is a really, really heavy workload. It's stressful in the sense that there is a large volume of reading. And this is kind of, I suppose, it's kind of different to your Leaving Cert because in a lecture, for example, they would cover the main concepts of this law, but you would kind of have to go away and do a lot of independent study and go over, for example, a couple of chapters or articles or journals yourself. Now, to make up for this independent study, your timetable is structured in a way to allow you to do so. So, like I was saying about the contact hours, you may only have 2 lectures per day, but then you have the rest of the day to kind of catch up on those lectures, get your notes together, get your reading started. So I often found that, for example, if I had 1 or 2 lectures per day, I would kind of just go to the library in between Or I would tell myself, that I'd start my day at like 10 a.m. and I would leave the library around 4 or 5. And that kind of allows you to be flexible with yourself, but also allows you to keep up with your workload. So as long as you're kind of doing something similar, it's not stressful at all. I think that it's incredibly manageable.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ira. I can see a question here and it says, is the public speaking something that is part of all programs or just for law? So I would say that would depend. Okay, I'm going to say, for example, I studied arts in Maynooth. I did French and Irish a few years ago, and there was a bit of an element of public speaking there because I was learning languages, and there would be presentations. Daniel, I don't know, is there a part of public speaking in your program?
No, not particularly. At least in second year, I haven't really had to focus on it yet. Although possibly for interview prep and stuff in third year with relation to work placement. That's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, so it'd be kind of something, I guess, more so to aid you for your course as well. And Claudia, would there be any kind of public speaking element in your course?
So in fourth year, you do have to do a lab project for whatever subjects you decide to graduate in. So I just did my biology research project there. And at the end of it, you do have to present it in front of 3 of your lecturers and the lab staff you worked with. And it's about a 15 to 20-minute presentation. And so you do have to be able to kind of like explain your findings and your procedures and methods and conclusions about your experiment. So yeah, there's a little bit of public speaking, but other than that, there's not really any.
Perfect, thank you so much. There's a question here in reading material, and think I'm going to put this to Hira because I'd say you probably have the most kind of independent reading. Am I right in kind of saying that, Daniel and Claudia, maybe? Um, would you have a lot of reading as well, Daniel, in your course?
No, not particularly. For finance, there's a few recommended books, but other than that, no, not particularly.
Okay, so here then, as regards reading material, how did you deal with the workload? For example, did you dive in straight away, or try to read a novel a week? For the English one, I would actually ask that in the arts talk. There's sorry that just at the tail end of that question, it says, for example, in English, we don't have any students here that have studied or are studying English. So I would best, if you want a specific answer on the English part, I joined the arts talk and asked the question there. But maybe here, as best as you can, answer that question if that's okay.
Yeah. So
Thanks so much.
for each module, you're provided with a reading list, and it kind of sets out the reading that you have to do that's compulsory. So, for example, that could be a chapter out of a book, and it would be really similar to your lecture notes. And then on top of that, there's recommended reading, which is not compulsory, but it can be nice to have that on hand when you're doing assignments, but it's not mandatory. In terms of how reading is done, so your lecturers will let you know if they'd like you to do your readings before your lectures or after. And they'll usually let you know at the end of it, have a look at the reading list and have a look at week 1, or week 2 correlates to this chapter or whatever. And the the library would have most of your books, if not all. I found that I didn't really buy any books throughout my time at Maynooth, besides revision books. So that's kind of how reading is tackled within law itself.
Amazing, thank you so much. My next question here, it's what are the progression routes like into MH501 law? So for that question, I might just mark it over, and if you don't mind putting that question over to our live chat, or I might ask Emma if you don't mind here to just send a few links, because the links will help you. And if you were looking into MH101 arts, you could put that down, and then you could look into progressing into MH501 through that course. And for the actual specifics, I'll have to get you them. But I'm just going to focus while we have the students here and try and get through as many kind of nuggets of information from them as we can. Now the next one. Actually, here, this one's for you as well. Hi there, is there much mathematics involved with the law degree? He's interested in law, but he's just not 100% keen on maths. So I just want to know if there's any maths involved.
In LLB, No,
You haven't
which is really
experienced
nice because I wasn't a maths person either.
maths.
I can just about remember addition and subtraction and nothing else from the leaving cert. So no, there isn't a lot of maths. There is a tax module in final year, but this is an optional module. So if you're not keen on maths, if you're not really interested in accounts or tax, you don't have to take it. But I'm told that it is pretty straightforward. Like you don't need to have an immense knowledge of maths or, you know, the more complex areas of maths. It's more than manageable if you're not a maths person.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And again, another one from you for you, Hira, is how are you assessed in the law degree?
So there's two ways that you're assessed, and it is dependent on your module. For example, you can have a 100% CA module. So CA stands for continuous assessment, and you'll probably hear this a lot when you are in college. This basically means that it's an assessment that will take place throughout the course of the module or throughout the course of the semester, and it could be, you know, an essay or a problem question. And then you have modules where you would do, for example, a 30% CA, which is pretty common actually, this division of your module, a 30% CA, which would be, you know, maybe a 1,000 word essay. And then you would do a written exam, which would be 70%, and it would kind of assess the other areas of the module. Or you could have a 100% exam-based module. So throughout the module, you don't have to write any essays or problem questions, and you would do just the exam itself. And just one thing I'd like to add about the CA is that your CA can actually also be comprised of, for example, for negotiation, it could be a mock negotiation, or for the moot court module, our assessment was the exam at the end, which was a moot court competition.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Claudia, we have a question for you. And how long were your labs usually?
So this really depends. So each week you get about, depending on the year. So let's say for in first year for biology, we had 3 hours of labs for biology scheduled a week. So this would be like, this would take place, let's say from 10 a.m. in the morning until 1 p.m. in the evening. And it, because it says it's scheduled for 3 hours doesn't mean it will potentially run for the 3 hours. But most of the time biology would take about 2.5 hours, and chemistry I've had labs that have run up to 4.5 hours. So it depends on the experiment you're doing, and it depends on how long it takes you to do it, but usually whatever time they say it's scheduled for, that's how long it would usually last. They will tell you all of this when during the introduction for each module at the beginning of the semester.
Thank you so much, Claudia. Daniel, what does computer science involve?
So, of the computer science modules I've taken, in first year you take a module CS 161, Introduction to Computer Science. And this is kind of just base level, really basic stuff. And so they start you off learning Java, which is just it's probably one of the most common programming languages used. And you kind of you would have one lab a week in computer science where it would test what you've learned that specific week. And you know, it started from a really basic level. It's expected that you're a beginner who hasn't done it before, and then it gets a bit more
Amazing.
advanced in the second year.
Thanks so much, Daniel. There's actually another one here for you, and it says, what subjects would you recommend taking for Leave Insert for your course?
So I personally took physics, chemistry, accounting, physics, chemistry, and accounting. But it's kind of done in a way that if you have a decent level of mathematics, you should be fine with most of the course content. So I didn't take computer science for the Leaving Cert, but I found it was quite easy to pick up. And the same with the economics. I didn't take economics, but I had no problem picking it up last year and being able to get through it and do well in it.
Amazing. Thank you so
Mm.
much. I'm trying to get through as many questions as possible because I know we only have like 10 minutes left. So, is there a law course that lasts for 3 years? Yes, there is. Here is studying the LLB, which is 4 years, but the BCL is 3 years. And also, if you studied law as part of the arts degree, that's also 3 years. Let me see. Any tips on note taking and studying? Is there anyone who'd like to take that one?
I can personally say that what best works for me is I print out my notes before I go into the lecture. So I don't like taking like reams and reams and reams of notes because I feel like if I'm taking down stuff, I'm not properly listening to what the lecturer is saying. So
Hmm.
what I best find is that I will print out my notes before the lecture and then I will go in and just kind of like write key points or key like words that they say during the lecture, and then I will then go home. I would try to do this like even the day off or the days after, and I would make my own notes. But I know a lot of people bring in like their iPads and they write on their iPads like on the PDF document that the lecturer puts up on Moodle. So it depends on what best works for you.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Claudia. Um, Hira, could you briefly explain what a moot court is? Or, yeah, moot court is.
A moot court is basically a court-based scenario, and it's similar to going to court and kind of seeing how court is run. It's basically set up to get you ready for that experience. For example, if you want to be a barrister, it's like you're in an episode of Suits. Really, it's really nice. The adrenaline rush, it's all there, and you basically would be in teams of 2 or 3. It's dependent on who's running the competition, but in Maynooth, it's really common to just have 2 people, and you would be the lawyers, and there is 2 teams. So they would be representing the appellant and the respondent. The appellant is the person who raises the case, and the respondent is the one who the case is against. And you would also have a judge. So it's basically just a mock courtroom scenario where you're arguing a case. Like, for example, there could have been a car accident and someone was injured, and you're basically just compiling information on the law and then arguing it, getting you ready for court.
Amazing. Thank you so much. There's actually another bit here for you, and it's did you have any aspects of criminology in your course and did you enjoy it?
So I didn't really have any aspects of criminology. I know that there's an optional module that you can take later on throughout your degree. I think it's in either third year or fourth year. I can't remember. I think it's fourth year, but you can take criminology if that's what you're interested in. But my only kind of real introduction to that would be criminal law.
Amazing, thank you so much. I actually have a question here. If I did an arts degree, how did I end up? So I'm in the admissions office. It's student recruitment. So an arts degree is very flexible. You can do anything with an arts degree. I studied marketing after university. I'd get involved in a lot of Irish stuff as well. So yeah, I definitely recommend going to the arts talk, and really you kind of, the world is your oyster. You can kind of go whatever way you like to go with it, and with your subjects as well. There's another bit here. Claudia, are lectures taught from a book or something else?
So when a lecturer is putting their notes together to give out to students, so they would create a PDF document for each lecture and then they would upload it onto Moodle. So each lecturer kind of like takes their notes from a specific book, or if they're taking them from a few different books, they will let you know. So then you can kind of like, they give you the basic concept because they obviously can't give you like 15 pages worth of book content, but they will give you the basic concept of that lecture, and then they will direct you to the book it came from if you want to get more information. And most of the time, for example, for my tumor biology module, um, we do a lot of research from research papers and research articles. So it doesn't have to come from a book; it can come from so many different, um, sources. So yeah, it depends on the lecturer and what their preference is.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Claudia. There's a question here about people entering arts degrees and then transferring into a specialised degree. Okay, so briefly, now I'd recommend going to the arts talk where you can kind of hear more about the transfer options. But briefly, if you go on to mu.ie/prospectus, on that webpage, there's a booklet there, and it's MH101 subject guide, and that will go through every single subject and how you can transfer into a specialised degree in second year from the arts degree. So that could be from law, it could be into one of the specialised business degrees, and I would go there and definitely have a look at that, and that'll really help you. Sorry, I can't get more deep into it, but the Arts Talk is a place where you could go and you'll get all that information. Let me see what else. I know the Arts Talk is going to be on, I think after this talk, if you go on to MU, it'll be on twice. If you go onto mu.e/CAO, the timetable is there and the link is there where you can go to, and that'll be hosted by Fionnuala Finnegan. Oh my god, I think Kay Mitchell is joining too, and I'm sure it'd be super, super, super interesting. Okay. The music degree, they can mention it. If you have any specific questions for music, you can ask that during the Arts Talk as well. Okay. Can I watch this back later? Yes, we are recording this, and we will be putting the link up for the video. And again, I'd really recommend anyone that's here and that's interested in Maynooth, our MU Live webinar series go on throughout the year, and I'm sure there might be a talk about music as well specifically. So, or there was one about music already. That recording is actually on mu.ie/MU Live. Now, I'm trying to get as many in, I'm so sorry. There's bits, and it's kind of asking about socializing in Maynooth, and what I'd recommend, we don't really have the time to get into the nitty gritty there about clubs and socks and Maynooth student life, but what I'd recommend doing is we have a facility called Ask a Student. I know Daniel, Hira and Claudia, the three of you are on Ask a Student, aren't you? Okay, and it's kind of like a chat function that you can go on and you can engage with other kind of students or our current students, and you can ask them their questions directly. It almost kind of looks like a WhatsApp kind of a piece, and that you can chat to our students there. To get that, it's mu.ie/ask-a-student. Also, if you follow our Instagram, our Snapchat, our TikTok, Maynooth CAO, our students often do takeovers. Now they're doing their exams now, and they've kindly given us their time today. So they'll be back up and running in about February, and there you can ask your specific question to different students as well. Now let me see what else I can get to. Are lecture halls big rooms filled with students, or is there a smaller version of that? Okay, so there's lecture halls and then there's tutorial rooms. So the tutorial rooms, have you guys anyone done a tutorial?
Yeah.
Daniel, how would you compare lecture halls and
a lecture hall? So I'll just take maths for example, since it's the most direct one. A lecture hall might be on North or South campus. In my maths lectures, there is generally between 50 and 100. But then a maths tutorial would be much smaller. A maths tutorial would be kind of in like a classroom, similar to just a regular school classroom, and there'd be maybe between 10 and 15 in it. And the tutorial's a lot more one-on-one. Generally, we just went through questions and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's really helpful. I hope that kind of answered that question as well. Thanks so much, Daniel. Okay, there's a question there in MH212. If you don't mind, if you could put that question over on the Q&A stream over on the CAO information page, because we won't get a time to chat to it now because of our students as well, and none of our students are studying that specific degree. Also, join the science talk. There's a science talk that Claudia will be joining as well, and you'll be able to get it to those kind of nitty gritty kind of bits in the course then. Someone is very interested in science, but they're not sure what to specialise in. They're taking physics and biology at the moment. Okay, I can see for that one. Are you a current student or are you a prospective student? I'd say for that one, if you want to send us an email on admissions@mu.ie, and we can get back to you on that kind of question. Just I'm trying to get as much out of the students here while I have them. Hira, what specific modules do you have for a law degree? So maybe where they can find, if you want to just call out a few modules and where you can find the information on the modules available.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, you can find a more in-depth kind of run through of the module and the different modules that you can take per year on the course finder. But just to kind of call out a few, in first year, you would take the basics, which would be tort and contract, and these would be incredibly popular in MOOCR competitions and negotiation competitions. You can also take negotiation and legal advocacy and writing. This kind of gets you polished up on your drafting skills for essays, emails, memos, reports. And at the top of my head, I can't really remember any. Oh, you would take criminal law, which is also one of the more basic kind of law modules, and you would find it really commonly in MOOC court module or MOOC court competitions as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So, do you know what? We've run out of time and we've actually gone over. So, if anyone has any more questions for our student ambassadors, please go to mu.ie/ask-a-student. So, you're looking for Ask a Student. If you have any specific questions, if you want to send them to us even on our Instagram, Minute CAO, and myself and Emma can answer you there as well. The rest of the talks will be going on for the rest of the evening, and we should have the recordings up to MU Live is also something really helpful, and the specialised kind of weekly webinars, so you can sign up for them on mu.ie/MU Live. I just want to say big thank you to our 3 students who were super helpful. And I know everyone watching probably thinks the same. So thank you, Claudia. Thank you, Daniel. And thank you, Hira. I want to say a big thank you to my colleague, Emma Shine, who's in the background answering all of our questions that we couldn't get to hear. And that's moderating it here for us today. And thank you, lastly, to everybody that joined us. I hope that you got a good insight into Maynooth and the kind of student life here, and it really helped you, and that if you have any questions on your kind of prospective journey, please feel free to email us on the admissions office or use our web chat facility, and we'll be really happy to help you. So our email is admissions@mu.ie. But again, if you'd prefer Instagram or anything like that, you can message us over on Maynooth CAO. I know someone's looking for the live site. I'm going to just send you I said it live. Someone just asked for the link. So it's mu.ie/CAO. So mu.ie/CAO is where we are now. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of the talks. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Bye.